So we have already learned about objectives of impression making. We have learned about the theories that are associated with impression making. But in order to answer a question completely, you need to know its definition and classification as well. Hi, I'm Dr. Riddhi Lalan, and today we shall be discussing about impression techniques in detail. So let's just quickly look into the definition. It's very important that you understand that an impression is the negative likeness or copy in reverse. Okay, so I have been repeating that whatever will be elevation in your mouth, like your ridge or teeth, will appear as a depression in your impression. So, this is how you would be defining, and I would like to clarify here that you always need to write definition according to GPT 9. Now let's talk about the classification. So the first thing that we already know is according to the theory. It can either be mucocompressive, static, selective, myostatic or dynamic impression. So this will be according to all the theories that were proposed. Now moving on to the technique. So technique can either be open mouth or closed mouth. So what is meant by this? So whenever open mouth means that the dentist is holding on to the tray into the oral cavity. It is not held by closing the mouth of the patient. So that would be done by the dentist. The muscle movement will be emphasized by the operator. So we are exerting the pressure, correct? It is not patient's own forces that are coming into picture. So when will patient's own force be there? Yes, it will be during the closed mouth. We did discuss about one of the technique where the occlusal rim was being used. Can you tell me the name quickly? Yes, so when you use occlusal rim to exert force, it is the patient's force that is going to come into picture, and that will be closed mouth. It is not held by the dentist, but it is held under the masticatory load of the patient themselves. Then using the types of tray. So when I talk about trays, what comes into your mind? Do you recall that we use different tray for primary impression and we use a different tray for your final impression? Why is it? Primary is just for diagnostic purpose. Okay, so we just take a broader thing into consideration, but at the same time, primary impression will help us to design the final or the custom tray. The custom tray will be customized according to the size, the structure, the palatal shelf, or the shape, how depth or how wide is the palate. So all of these will be according to the type of your tray that is being used for your impression. Then the purpose of impression. Why are you actually making that impression? So it will either be you are doing it for diagnosis, just to know, right? Just before your pre-prosthetic surgery, you would want to know what are the undercuts, what are the soft tissue, hard tissue undercuts, where is the bony exostosis present, where do you need to alter the path of insertion, would you want to keep the undercut or would you want to eliminate the undercut? So all of this will be done in your diagnostic cast, and for that you would have to obtain your diagnostic impression. Then moving on to the primary impression. So primary impression is taken after your pre-prosthetic surgery. It is the first impression that actually houses our foundation. But the final impression will always be taken in the secondary impression, and that will record the entire denture bearing area, the depth and the width of your vestibule, and it will actually give us the borders where we have to terminate our dentures. So this is the ultimate use of your final or secondary impression. Moving on to the materials that are used. So there are n number of materials. Whether it is a diagnostic impression, a primary or secondary, your material of choice will differ. Whether the tissues are flabby, the ridge is atrophic or knife edge, the materials will differ. The techniques will differ. So the material can either be agar, alginate, impression compound, wax, rubber based and impression plaster. So can you think of selection of case wherein you would want to select this material? Because every material has its specific indication. Now we'll go to the principles of impression technique. Why do we want to make an impression? Correct? First is to restore the health of the tissue. It's very important. Other would be to include all of the basal seat, because you would want the limiting structures, the relieving parts as well, and the stress bearing areas to be recorded well. The anatomical and physiological limit should be maintained. So it cannot go beyond your posterior palatal seal area. Why? We'll be learning in the next upcoming lectures. Then the pressure that is applied should be selective. So when I say selective, what do I mean? We discussed in our theories. Yes, it should be selected according to the area, according to the underlying structures. If the structure can bear the forces, provide pressure onto that area. But if the structure has something that needs to be preserved, the neurovascular bundle, relieve that of any type of pressure. And you need to choose a material that is dimensionally stable. Imagine spending 5 visits onto fabricating a denture and you give a material that actually distorts within a week, within a month. That is not why the patient is spending so much of money, so much of time is being invested of both the dentist and the patient, and so much of technique is being used just to go in vain. Okay, so that is also one of the very important thing. Now, coming to a very important aspect of impression techniques, we all know the bottom molding and the final impression, the selective pressure technique. But what if the denture bearing area's condition is not that great? What will you do? That brings us to the next thing, that is the special technique. So there can be 3 types. There can either be flabby ridge, which means that the tissues are mobile. There can be atrophic ridge, which can be anticipated if it is a long-standing edentulism case. And it can be a knife edge ridge. You remember Atwood's classification? If not, I would advise that you go to the first lecture, that was residual ridge resorption, and revise your Atwood's classification, and we'll discuss each in detail now. So if it is a flabby ridge, now you need to understand one thing, that not all the tissues are going to be mobile. It is usually, in majority of the cases, anterior, that too of maxillary, that actually becomes flabby or movable. So now other tissues on the posterior side are really firm and resilient. Tissue in the maxillary anterior is flabby. So what would you do? You record your normal impression for the other areas. But for your flabby tissue, you're going to use a technique that is called a window technique. In this, you control your lateral pressure. So what is going to happen? If you see here, okay. So you see that the border molding is done already. Okay. So the border molding was completed and a window was created. So you mark your flabby tissues using your indelible pencil and you remove that area from your tissue. Now, the area that is firm and resilient can be recorded using zinc oxide eugenol. It can also be recorded using light body impression material, but this need not be recorded under any pressure. So there has to be a completely mucostatic impression material. And what comes into your mind? Yes, it is impression plaster. So you record your impression with impression plaster. You paint that flabby tissue with impression plaster, you let it set, you fill this with the desirable material of choice and you record the entire impression. So what did you do here? You recorded the flabby tissues as mucostatic without applying any sort of pressure, but at the same time you applied selective pressure onto the other areas. That is the posterior ridge, the palate, the posterior palatal seal area, everything was recorded as if we had a firm and resilient tissue. So this is your window technique to record your flabby tissues. Now we talk about the atrophic ridge. So atrophic ridge will be recorded using the admix technique. So admix means that you use your green stick and your impression compound in 7:3 ratio. So now what happens? You mix them. You know how you mold your impression compound, right? You mix them accordingly, and then this tray is loaded with this material and is seated into patient's mouth. Now we ask the patient to perform all the functional movements, which will include sucking, swallowing. So when I talk about functional movement, this will include all the movements performed by patient like swallowing, moving the tongue from side to side, all of these. And by this, you actually record the neutral zone as well. So once the material is set, you remove the impression. And once it is removed, you check and you take a wash impression over it. And this will provide the detailed thing of your ridge. So atrophic ridge is provided properly. Then when you have to establish your occlusion pattern, you actually go for neutral zone. So as we know that it is a zone that will have similar pressures applying from the buccal labial side and from the lingual side. So now this will be recorded during your occlusal rim or the jaw relation phase. Okay, and then you can end by also taking a dynamic impression. The soft liner can do the job, right? Because we know that the soft liner will mold itself according to the functional movement of the patient. And the knife edge ridge. So this will require differential pressure technique. The knife edge cannot be given pressure, so it needs to be relieved. But the buccal shelf area can be given pressure. So if I had to summarize that if at all you have either atrophic or a knife edge ridge, always go for selective or differential pressure theories. Okay, because it is the understanding of the anatomical landmark that will help you to provide the perfect impression in order to avoid undue forces in future. You need to preserve what remains. This is one of the most important objectives of impression making. So, as we were talking, right, this is the differential impression technique. The holes are placed on the crest of the ridge so that they are not under pressure. The knife edge ridge will always have a crest that will have or bone lots of force. So force upon area. Area reduces, pressure increases. In order to relieve, we place this perforations at the crest and we provide or make the special tray with 2 mm of spacer. This spacer will also ensure that there is not direct contact of your denture onto your tissues. And this is how your admix material, which is in ratio of 7:3, green stick to impression compound, is going to look. So let's quickly go and solve the flashcard. Why is selective pressure impression philosophy considered biomechanically superior for complete denture? And the reason is very simple, that because it is loaded onto the stress bearing area while relieved for the non-stress bearing area, hence it will never compromise the tissue health. And it is best of both, that is the mucocompressive and the mucostatic technique. So it's not just one, it's both that will give us advantage. Moving on to the next question. A mandibular complete denture impression is planned for a patient with atrophic ridge and knife edge crest. So this is the combination. Which combination of impression philosophy? Mucocompressive first goes out of option. No compression. It's already knife edge. Do I want to apply compression onto the tissue? No. Mucostatic using impression plaster. Now this would have been employed for window technique, for flabby tissues. I would in fact want to give differential or selective pressure. So selective pressure philosophy using the differential impression technique. Yes, I might consider this. Dynamic impression philosophy using tissue conditioners. This can be done, but if I have to give preference, it will always be selective pressure. So remember, if you are attempting for any MCQ, okay, and you're confused between the two, it is likely the clinical scenario that has upper hand onto your selection of option. So this is all about impression. So now if you get a question, you should actually be able to answer it in detail. And for that, you would have to revise 3 videos. The first being the objectives, all the 3 objectives that we have discussed in detail, the theories and the technique. And again, I'm repeating, go download GPT-9, keep it at your desktop, refer to it as many times, and don't change the definition. It is going to definitely help you fetch more marks. And I'll see you in the next video.